Today we have the Burly brand Brawler. Burly brand Brawlers. Burly bagger Brawlers. Today we got some cool shit to put on your bike. Welcome to Sikbaggers YouTube channel. I'm Steve. Today I've got something pretty cool to show you. We're going to be doing a full install front and rear on this Road Glide ST back here. Today we're going to be installing the Brawlers by Burly brand. Good job. So if you haven't seen these before, this is a complete kit that has the engine guard in it and the rear saddlebag guards. Usually on the saddlebag guards, it tees off the saddlebag rail, comes up, and it comes out of the bottom right here, comes up and goes over. So it's like a big kind of C on the side of your bike. And it will protect your bags from low speed drops. Same thing as the engine guard. Usually you have a full-size engine guard that comes out of the top and comes all the way around to the bottom, or you have what we call a chopped, which comes out right here in the middle, comes around and goes to the bottom. Does the same thing. Protects your motorcycle paint from slow speed drops. And if those little sliders get damaged, you can replace them. Like I said, I think they're around 20 bucks at the time of the shooting of this video for a pair of them. So if you damage them, go over there and pick up a couple more. It's pretty cheap. So if you take a quick look at the front engine guard, you can clearly see how different this is from a normal engine guard. This is going to mount to the front of the frame right here, and then of course you have these coming out of the side. So if you've ever dropped your bike on a regular engine guard, you'll notice that it does scratch up and sometimes it bends, but that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to take the damage versus your paint. So what's cool about this is if you drop your bike, they have these sliders on the end and they are replaceable. Hopefully I get that up on camera there so you can see it, but these ends are replaceable. There's a bolt right down the middle so you can change these ends. These are called Delrin sliders, and basically Delrin is a thermoplastic. And what's cool about this is even though it's a thermoplastic, it can take pretty hard impacts without shattering. So if you picture that you're riding and you go down and you're sliding, if you had metal on the end of that, just a metal stub sticking out here, that steel is going to actually grab the surface of the road, the concrete, whatever you're on. It can cause your bike to flip. A thermoplastic like this is going to take the impact. It's not going to break off when it hits. It's actually going to take the impact. So this Delrin is actually pretty slick when you're grinding it across the pavement. It's not going to catch the road and flip you or the bike. It's going to actually just grind, and if it gets all ground up, well, you can take the bolt out and replace it with a brand new one. If you've watched our channel in the past, you'll know that we have a Road Glide ST back over there, and we've been doing a little bit of work to it here on the YouTube channel. Unfortunately today, these aren't mine, but I am going to show you how to install them. They're going to go on my buddy's Road Glide ST back here. Now that I got my eyes and my hands on them and I see how stout and sturdy these things are actually made, the welds look awesome on here. But now that I've got them in my hands, we'll definitely be ordering them for our ST. I won't do another video on it because I'm going to do that today for you with this bike. And this is one side of the rear, this being the top, this being the bottom. As you can see, they are at different angles because when you lay your bike down, this one comes into contact first, then this one. So one shorter than the other. So I will be installing these for you as well. And let me tell you something, these things are freaking stout. Don't even need dumbbells anymore. Just kidding. These would be expensive dumbbells. Listen, these guys have been around forever. I've heard about Burly brand ever since I got into this industry. Unfortunately for me, I've never actually had an actual Burly brand product in here until today to get it on video for you. Now, if you go over to Burly brand's website, you'll see they don't just make these like slider things for motorcycles. They make all kinds of stuff. They make handlebars, suspensions, sissy bars, luggage. There's all kinds of stuff on there. And the sliders aren't just for the touring models. You can do Softails, Dynas, they've got them all covered. I'll put a link down in the description to the touring model ones that we are installing here today, but just be aware that they make them for all different bikes. So we're going to be starting with the rear of the bike today with the saddlebag guards. If you're here just to see how to put on the front one, go ahead and skip ahead in the video. This video will have chapters in it. So if you're on a computer, you can usually see the little chapter bars on the video. You can hover over each section and it'll tell you exactly what we're doing in that part of the video. So if you're here for the front, go ahead and skip to the front. If you're here for the whole thing, let's get started. Now, the very first step in this thing is super easy to do, meant for you to do at home. Take your seat off, take your saddlebags off, take your side covers off. Today, you're gonna need a few basic tools to get this job done, but you will also need some medium strength Loctite. I use the Loctite 243, and all of the tools that I am using today will be linked down in the description down below, in case you want to check those out. The existing saddlebag rail is super easy. You got 2 bolts back here, you've got 2 bolts right here, and you've got 1 bolt right here. This saddlebag rail and your exhaust support bracket right here has to come off. Leave the exhaust on, just the bracket. These two bolts back here are going to be a 1/2 inch, so we're going to remove those first. The first bolt that you see in here will be a Torx 40 and a 1/2 inch, so we're going to remove that one. This outer bolt right here will be a Torx 45 and a 9/16. You can kind of move up and down on this, pull that out, and sometimes the one you just got to back that one out. Just like that. Now right here, this silver plate, you're going to pull that out just like that, and you're going to pop this piece of rubber out, and you're going to push it forward to get it out. Comes out just like that. You see a little ramp there, so it goes in this way. Up here we got another Torx 45 and another 9/16 nut on the inside. Now from here, we can simply just pull this out off the bike. Inside your kit, you're gonna have 2 of these saddlebag rails that we're replacing the ones that we just took off. You'll know which side they go on by the little piece down here that your rubber slides into. If this is pointing towards the front of the bike, we need to make sure that this square is down. So we're gonna take our little rubber thing with the ramp facing the front of the bike. So we slide it in from the front to the rear the same way it came out. You just pop it in just like that. So then we set this back up here. We're gonna take our large bolt that went in the front. We're gonna slide it through just like that. Once the bolt is actually through, take your blue Loctite, put on there, go ahead and start your nut. The reason why you put the Loctite on after you put the bolt through is because you may smear off most of the Loctite when you're pushing the bolt through. We're gonna take the inside one, we're gonna get it started. Once again, little medium Loctite. So right here on top of your frame, you're gonna see a threaded hole here, and of course the bolt that we took out down here. That's where this goes on. This piece is gonna slide on to the piece that we loosely installed on the rear, and then this is gonna set up here just like this. So you can see that this slides on over this. We're gonna put that just like that. We're gonna pull it forward until it matches up with this bolt hole here. So we're gonna put our bolt through, get back there, put a little blue Loctite on that bolt, and then get our nut back on. And we're gonna grab a bolt and a washer. Once again, little blue Loctite on the top bolt. We're gonna take our bracket, we're gonna slide this back through the rubber, just like that, line it up over the exhaust hole. And these 2 bolts have split washers on them, so there's no need for any Loctite on these. Now that everything is loosely installed, we can go ahead and start tightening everything down. And it is that easy to get those installed. Now from here, I'm gonna cut the camera. I'm gonna repeat the process on the other side. There's absolutely no difference on the other side. Then we'll cut the camera back on and we'll do the front. When you're doing the front, you have to look at the front of the frame right there and see if you have an oil cooler line that runs down along in the middle and kind of dips to the outside of the frame. If you do have it on there, that hose has to be removed and pulled forward so you can get this on, then you rehook it back up. Problem with that is, on the front of that, Harley-Davidson likes to use ear clamps. Those are a one-time use clamp, so that has to be cut off. We'll show you how to do that here in just a second. It's very easy, but it's trash after that. So you need to get yourself a radiator clamp like this, or any other kind you want to get. You can use ear clamps if you want to use those, put them back on there. Now this one here we're going to be putting on today is about 1.5 inches around, so make sure that you have one of these. Because you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing in here, here's a picture of the ear clamp, and this is the direction. This red line right here is the direction that you need to cut that to get that to pop off. Got it. So the next thing we want to do is separate the regulator and oil cooler from the frame. There's 2 bolts up here which we had already removed because we took the chopped engine guard off a long time ago. Now we got to get to the ones on the bottom. So you got to take this oil cooler cover off. This just simply pops off at the top like this. You just pull out on it, and then it just kind of pops in at the bottom. You'll see once I get it off. Sometimes the rubber things, yeah, this one came out with it. This one actually stayed in the hole. But we're gonna pop that off. and put that back in the hole. So we have to put that back on later. So hopefully you can see this silver bolt right here. There's one of these on each side. We're gonna remove that bolt over there and this bolt here. Then this whole bracket that holds us on will come down, and we can pull that down and actually pull that metal hose out of that rubber hose at the top. Now that I've got those two bolts out, right down here we got a wire that goes across here and a plug. It has a little like Christmas tree prong on it. So all I do is just grab it and pull it out like that. The other side where the clip is, just push it forward and that comes down. You can get that out of your way. Now this is loose. We do have wires on the back going into the voltage regulator, so be very careful with that. Now I'm gonna use a flathead to go in between this and the rubber. Just be very careful. You don't want to scratch up your black hose, but this is really tight. Once you get both sides loose, you can pull that up. There's our little bit of oil coming out. Go ahead and catch as much of that as we can. Now I put my little red hose clamp on there. You can get these on Amazon just to keep it from continuously dripping down on my hand while I'm working. I tried getting that on there before we pulled it off, and it's just too tight of an area in there with everything hooked up. But you want to make sure this doesn't come down and smack your fender as well. Just make sure that stays away from your fender. Go ahead and wipe up any oil that you lost. Like I said, I've clamped this just to keep it from continuously doing a little drip on all my tools, but it's not necessary. So we're gonna bolt on the front assembly to those same two holes right there. But the peg assembly needs to go right up against the frame, and then your regulator needs to go on the outside of that. So we're gonna slide this down into place, pull this back up into place in front of it, and then start our bolts in. And we're just gonna loosely start those in. Do not tighten them down yet. And I'm gonna go ahead and cover up that front fender too, just because I should have did this a while ago. But when you're working around a front fender like this, go ahead and get that thing covered up. So when you're setting this in here, make sure this hooks back to the back of the bike. And if you're doing this by yourself, it's gonna be a little tricky just because these things are heavy. I'm actually gonna put the bottom in first, just so I don't have to hold this thing up. I'll gently let that lay forward on my fender cover. Get this bolt started. And I forgot to mention too before we started this, because I already had the other engine guard off, there's really only two different kinds of engine guards, and depending on which one you have and you go out to take it off, if you have a full-size engine guard that comes from this bolt hole, comes up, goes across the middle up here, then you'll have a bolt up here at the top, one single bolt, remove that, and then those two bolts down here, one like this on each side of the bike. Now if you have the chopped engine guard, the smaller one is going to bolt across the middle, and then those two holes down here. So these two holes down here always stay the same. So just go out to your bike and look at your engine guard. There's usually only 3 bolts, maybe 4, that hold that engine guard on. So now that I've got it kind of supporting its own weight there, I'm going to go ahead and Loctite these 2 bolts in the middle, take my hose clamp off. When I pull that bracket back up into place, I need to go ahead and push that hose back up in there. So we're gonna roll this up into place. We're gonna pull this back up into place. Mind your wires down there. Make sure you're not pinching anything. So we've got all this into place. We got blue Loctite on our bolt. I'm gonna come over here and get this one loosely started. So got that one started. Blue Loctite again on this one. Through the bracket, through the engine guard, into the frame. So now that I have the 2 bolts in loosely up there, I can go ahead and take my bottom bolt out that was just holding the weight. Go ahead and put some blue Loctite on it. Get it started again. Do the same thing to the other side. 3/16 Allen here, 5/16 Allen down here. Now from here we're going to install our clamp back on our hose. I'll make sure that's pushed into place. All 4 bolts have blue Loctite on them and they're loosely installed. So at this time, while it is loosely installed, we need to put our bottom regulator bolts back in. So we need to make sure that this is pushed up into place. We're going to mind our wires, make sure we're not pushing on anything. We're going to get that bottom one started, go to the other side, get it started. Go Go ahead and run those 2 in. Now we take our oil cooler cover, goes back on just like it came off. Pop the bottom 2 in first, roll this up and snap it into place. So pop these 2 in down here and push it forward and snap it in. Don't forget to come down here and put this wire back into its hole. Now we can finish tightening our 4 bolts. I'm going to start with the middle 2. So to get rid of this oil that's dripped down, I just use a brake cleaner, something cheap like this. Just spray it straight down. Go ahead and get a towel. Try to soak up most of that oil. So that's it. Like I said, something you can definitely do at home with a few simple tools. No need to take this anywhere to have this done. And these things are freaking sick. And then plus having the sliders on the end of this that are replaceable just makes it that much better, because even if you do end up laying this thing down, it's not gonna do anything to the slider other than probably scratch it up. And if you want your bike looking new again, for 20 bucks, order a couple of new sliders and replace them. But when it comes to the rails, I promise you, you're gonna have to lay that thing down pretty hard to damage those things. It just blew my mind when I got them out of the box, because these things are just built like a tank. So maybe if you're on the fence about getting these, hopefully that easy installation there and then the walk around showing you what they look like on the bike can help you make an informed decision on whether or not these are right for you. Now that I've actually put them on, we're definitely going to be ordering a set of these for our ST. If you want to get your hands on this Brawler kit, I'll put a link down in the description down below. Take you straight over to Burly Brand's website to the Brawler kit for touring. But remember, they make them for other motorcycles as well, not just the baggers. And while you're over there, check out the rest of the website, because like I said, they've been around forever. They do a lot of parts. They don't just do this Brawler kit. Well, I hope this video helped you, and if it did, don't forget to hit that like, hit the subscribe button, and check out the rest of the channel, because we got over 200 and I think close to 250 videos now on Softail and bagger related product installs and services. I'm gonna get out of here, get myself back to work. I hope to see you in the next video, but until then, as always, be safe, keep your knees in the breeze. Hey, thanks for stopping by and checking out our videos today. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that like button, hit the little subscribe button popping up over here. If you want to check out more of our content, I've got 2 videos right here that'll get you started. Not really going to say anything else, just click one of those videos and take you to another video.